everybody. Welcome to Conversation for 7. We're going to be discussing various topics. Major one on Kitaka's mind tonight is standing up for ourselves and the things that we need to do to stand up for ourselves. Now, I've been away from the program for the last two broadcasts. So, I'm back now and happy to be back with you, the viewers, the faithful viewers of Conversation 473. Kitaka is here, Rolanda is here, and Leslie Carrington, who is part of the 473 family, a regular contributor to our program. Glad to see you, Leslie. How everybody? Nobody called me. I was not on, and nobody called me. I'm feeling neglected. What's going on?
No, my heart break because I was texting you. Well, we're in the era of text, so I've been texting you on my messages. Have been going unread, so I don't know. I was worried. I almost sent the 911 team to you. And your conversation, but you have a lot of boyfriends and conversation 473. So a lot of them in the comments was missing you. So I guess you have to tell them what's going on.
I'm back now. The main boyfriends took over. Zizi likes to download stuff, and sometimes when the device asks for space, it would throw my stuff off. So my WhatsApp messages weren't coming on, and I didn't realize. That's why I didn't respond to your messages, Kitaka. I would never ignore you. But yeah, I've been off for the last two programs. Other stuff came up, but I'm here now. So
I hope you got all that. I hope Zizi did not delete all my messages I sent to you.
No, the messages come back once you reload the program. So Leslie, it's good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah, nice to have you on tonight. And of course, I'm sure your contributions are going to be very important and weighty on the program. One of the things bills, a lot of people are dealing with their bills these days, and I understand that the utility companies have been, what people saw on their bills when they got them, both from NOASA and GRENLEC, is not what they expected. It did not jive with the narrative of our, the people in authority who were promising all kinds of breaks to the public in terms of utility bills, so we'll chat a little bit about that. NIS is also disappointing a lot of people. That is not going well either, based on the information that I have, that we have. And big news that Peter St. Paul, the chief security advisor to the Prime Minister, charged with a sex crime that was in the news a few months ago, that he had assaulted a woman, and it seems that the police is doing their job and bringing a charge. How it plays out in the court when he goes to trial is another story. But I think the Newsday newspaper did report that he has been charged. So those are some of the topics that we will try to touch on. I don't know if we'll get to touch on all of them on the program tonight. So guys. Are we gonna get our Miss McQueen's pet insects are noisy?
It's knocking. They're very loud.
Do you know people pay money for that noise? I think we are lucky in New York. You'll be hearing police siren, and if you're living in a big city, this is what you call nature. People pay money for that. If you go onto YouTube, you will see how expensive it is. We're getting it in Grenada for free.
And we thank you, but for the purposes of the program, you're not the type of guests that we want on the program tonight. It happened to me when I'm outside on my balcony doing a broadcast as well. Do we have an ad to run?
Yeah, so we'll take a break and I'll be right back with the conversation, ladies.
It is time for Grenada to define for herself what independence means.
What has happened here this morning has made me feel confident to face the future with fortitude, strength, and with hopefulness.
People begin to understand that our lives don't have to be so hard. Things can change,
We are all currently facing the same crisis and very similar challenges.
and no one can afford to be myopic or bigoted in this fight. We have no choice but to work together.
We have heard the call, and we are determined to come out of this pandemic greater than we entered.
Kitaka, what's been happening while I was not there?
Say that again, I didn't hear it clearly.
Oh, what's been happening during the time that I was not here? What's been happening?
Well, a lot been happening. Well, for me, the last couple of days have been kind of depressing because I've been out a lot. I've been interacting with the people, and been feeling a lot of what's on the ground. So that has kind of overwhelmed me for the last couple of days. I wouldn't lie. I've been feeling a little drained and a little bit tired. But for the last show, we spoke about the refugee issue. I mean, we missed you on that show. Ms. McQueen was very teary-eyed about the situation and was moved by the situation and putting out her hat once again to be the mother to another of our individuals who is seeking refuge in Grenada. While I was in town last week, a lot of people bombarded me with concerns about their bills. Even for me, I was surprised when I saw my bill as well, and the response I was given for the bill. And even for me, I've been calling for some sort of transparency in terms of how do we go about doing the estimation. Like really break down the calculation to a T, so that we could see some level of transparency in terms of that. Because the general consensus I'm getting on the ground is that people are disgruntled with how high their bills are, especially on the back of fuel prices dropping, and so on. Proposed slashing in bills as well of 30%, all those things. So people were kind of surprised, even through the market. How that woman say, oh God, she don't know what really going on, how she paid she bill, that kind of thing. So for me, that was something that really was prevalent in the streets as a general gripe of the people over the last couple of days in my movement through the city and so on.
Well, it is surprising that the bills are. Thank you, Richard. It is surprising that the bills are exorbitantly high and that people are complaining. The Prime Minister did say that he was making provisions to have the 3 months of the lockdown and the crisis where people would get 30% off on their bill. So, and then, oil dropped to the lowest it has been in, I think it was 18 years or so, which would impact on the fuel price, the fuel charge for at least some of the months, maybe not the earlier month, but later on. So I'm surprised that the bills are, even if you estimate what the bill is, an estimate is, what is used to estimate is what your previous usage was, and you can't pay, a company can't charge you 2 or 3 times or 1.5 times, what your past usage was. It has to be somewhere close. It has to be realistic to what you normally use. And even if they make provisions for the fact that more people are home and there's more usage, still you would have you're supposed to have a 30% off plus fuel charge dropped. So I'm at a loss, and I would certainly be calling Prudence to get an explanation as to why it is that people find their bills to be beyond what it is supposed to be. I know that for some of the months that Grenland did not actually come on site and do check the meter, but I noticed that they did come later on. Nawaso, of course, continued to check the cane during the whole period, but some of the months the Grenland would definitely have had to estimate based on past usage. But those are the things that people need to stand up for themselves about, because promises were made, and if it appears as if the promises are not being kept, then people have a legitimate case and a legitimate cause to be upset and to do something about the situation. Broken promises are a way of life for us in Grenada. And it won't stop unless people say no. I'm always telling people to say no to all the injustices that are meted out to us in the name of good governance.
Miss McQueen, if you may come in, like, how was your bill? How did your bill look this month compared to how it usually looks?
I think the electricity company must think I have a hotel. I don't know, my bill is not normal. We even wrote to them asking them if they're charging us. My bill always between $600 and $700 every month. I think it's, I don't know if you know, they charge you by the amount of light bulbs you have in your house, the size of your house. Is not, it don't seem that they don't charge you, as far as I know, by your usage, because I'm not here, I'm by myself, so I cannot understand why my bill is always that price. Always very, very high. And nobody would ever come and investigate if you say to them, listen, this is my bill. I'm not at home during the day. Why my bill? But it's exactly the same price. So it seems if you have to get a low bill, you have to turn off your you have to, I have no idea. I have no idea of how they work the bills out. Maybe somebody is listening, they can tell us.
Leslie, what about you, Leslie? When you got your bill this month, what was the feeling?
So the bill was exorbitantly high. However, when I inquired, they stated that it was an estimate. It's not the exact amount, it's the estimate of usage. So my question is, so if I pay the amount and you find out what the actual usage is, will I then get a credit to the account? So do you know? So say you pay the amount, and then when they actually get the correct numbers, will they then credit you back the money's paid? Will they put that credit on to the next bill?
Well, I think actually I don't think so. I don't think so because they've done this before, doing an estimate of your bill, and there's never any conversation about whether or not it's less, and people actually come in to check and verify that the amount they estimated at the time. Because on occasions when they would have done an estimate, it would not have been during a lockdown, but just during regular time when somebody's dog prevented them from coming in or so. So I expect that it's just going to go that way unless people make a lot of noise. The company does not have a procedure, a protocol for giving you a refund or credit on your bill if you pay more than you're supposed to. What they're saying when they do an estimate is this is the amount they expect that you would have used during that period when they could not check. But the thing about it is that estimate has to be based on something. And in the case of Glen Lake or Nawassa, your estimate is based on previous usage. It has to be based on that. It can't be based on anything else. And so if your bill is usually $10 and they charge you $20, obviously they would be being disadvantaged, putting you at a disadvantage in terms of how much money you have to put out. You couldn't possibly an estimate of a person whose monthly bill is always between $9 and $12, who's charged $20. It has to be that you've put on extra appliances and you're using more electricity for that to happen. So if you're estimating based on the existing conditions, then the estimate has to be realistically close to, above or below what the amount is.
Miss McQueen, you need to unmute your mic, Miss McQueen.
Yeah. One of the sad thing is there is nobody you can complain to. Is it Eritrea that has no government? So everybody do as they please. Everybody seems so lawless. It's if you have a complaint, there is nobody to go and complain to, and if you do, you just get ignored, And this I cannot say, because at this time where people have no money, it's not the time to be estimating any bills. And if you decided, well, my bill is not that amount, I'm going to take the reading myself, because they could have easily put an advert on the television to say that we send in your reading. They haven't done that. They decide, right, this is what it's going to be. We're going to charge you that, and you can't do anything about it. Suck it. That's what it's going to be. This is wrong. It seems like people does not understand there is no money around. So somebody who was going to pay maybe $100, they estimate it for $200. Where do they expect the people to be getting the money from? There is no work. One of the things as well, which was the stimulus packages for workers, because there were some workers we had to send home. We send them in April. The government is not going to stop paying, and I must make sure I speak to my accounts department. They're not going to pay. They send back our papers saying we cannot claim from the day they close the country down. So I think we have to start claiming from May. So people was hoping to get some money in April. No money. The day the country was closed down. So obviously they haven't got the money to pay. So things is really confusing, and nothing is straightforward. You cannot phone up and ask anyone a question, because everybody tell you they don't know. And the people that know, they take it very personal and they become very defensive. But if I was most of the Grenadian people out there, what I would do, I would take a photo of my meter and I would bring it in to the electricity company, and I would tell them, this is, maybe get a newspaper that has today's date and say, this is my electricity bill and this is what I am paying.
What I'm saying is that what about, like, let's say for instance, if we are able to let's say there was a period when there was no reading of meters. Now they read meter the first day. If they read meter the first day, and that is 3 months or 2 months after the last reading, can we not then use simple mathematics and divide that by a number and figure out the cost? Additionally, I think the point Leslie made earlier on is a very valid point. If, let's say, you estimate the bill, and when you come and check the new reading, you see that the bill is, let's say it was on 100 and now it's on 150. Then I use 50 kilowatts during that period. Over 2 months, divided by 25 kilowatts per month. And if I pay more than that amount, then you put a credit on the bill, so I have money inside. Or you give me a refund or something along that line. Because for me, it hurts me, because I know a lot of people in Grenada has lost their income. A lot of people have lost their income, like no work, no money coming in. And then to be hit with that Lasha bill, and to even have that delays with getting the payment in NIS, with the NIS unemployment benefit and other things, it just adds more salt to injury. And collectively, I'm seeing the collective spirit of the people way down and down and down and down. And that is very worrying to me. And I think, like, even Grenlec as a company has boasted continuously as being one of the companies that brings in a wonderful profit at the end of the year. I can recall that very, very vividly in doing my research. So even at least, I don't know, I sort of struggle a little bit, but at least Grenlec and Flow and so many other companies could be able to give the people a little ease up in this time of need, because we have been there consistently paying our bills.
But remember, Kitaka, this is how they take advantage of poor people. Remember, all the big hotels was closed, because that was where everybody has their air condition on and people was just, spending money. The big hotels were closed. All the big offices was closed that would be using air condition and using lots of electricity. So they need to get money. They need to make money. And the only person they can do that to are the poor people. It's the same thing like somebody saying, somebody that has money, the children could go outside and do anything. The rich people, if the father would pick up the phone and say, to speak to the High Commissioner of Police. But when a poor person do it, who have you got to speak to? You just have to pay up. And these people making money, rich people always make money on poor people back. Because I said I am 100% sure they cannot send an estimate bill to the big hotels because their bills would be thousands of dollars. They wouldn't dare send Sandals an estimate bill or any of the hotels. But people here, as I say, who can they complain to? Sandals owner would pick up the phone and say to them, what do you think you are doing? Can the poor man do that? No.
Well, the poor man will continue to be taken advantage of because the poor man in Grenada refuses to speak up for themselves. They put the interests of the big man ahead of their own interests and that of their children. And time again, I see it. So, people go as far as you allow them to go, and they do as much as you allow them to do. And people have just simply gone belly up and thrown their hands up in the air in vast amounts. So the road is clear and free for people to do whatever they wish if they feel that they have the power to do it, because we have given up our power to the people in authority, in corporate authority and political authority in Grenada, and so we're going to continue to have a lot of those kinds of problems. I mean, people are. I'm surprised that the government having promised very early on in the game that there'd be a big break of almost a third discount on your bill, 30%, almost a third from your bill. That people are now facing that situation, and I am not going to blame GrenLec for that. The corporate animal is what the corporate animal is. GrenLec is under no obligation to give a break to the public. It's about conscience, corporate conscience there. They are under no obligation. Who has an obligation is the government to ensure that certain things go a particular way in the country. The Prime Minister and the government, those in government, are well aware of the economic situation in the country. And we must understand, they know that certain burdens cannot be put on the people at this time. But you find large bills, and in the NIS situation now is a really big problem, because based on the information I have, it appears as if NIS is trying to get out of paying the full $10 million out to people. It's already a small amount that people are getting at $350 per person over 6 months. But apparently you won't continue to get that $350 when you return to work. It's going to stop when you do qualify. Another difficulty that people face is the process for getting in the queue to be paid. Some people are unable to access the method by which you apply for payment. People have called me to ask for help with that, in navigating online with that. That is another issue. They must understand that there are some people who won't be able to do it that way. And then there's a situation as well where if your employer was in arrears, delinquent in paying the contribution to NIS, that you cannot get monies from the benefits from NIS. No, unemployment benefits is not part of the mandate of NIS. This is an arrangement created by government to assist people. So, and the government is also supposed to be, I don't know if they've changed their mind again, are supposed to be making a contribution, whether it's 50% of the amount that they're putting in, so that people can get this relief amount, although it's small. So I don't understand how it is that a delinquent employer has any impact or bearing on that. A delinquent employer can only impact on the things that NIS is mandated to do, but this is special arrangements. So to put that out there, that if your employer was not paying benefits, then you will not get that $350. As far as I'm concerned, it's another way around the situation and another attempt to take advantage of the people of the country, because this is not part of NIS benefits. So a breach of the NIS rules should not apply in a situation like that. And then people have to wait for so long. There are people who have applied for 3 weeks and still not getting anything. Even the construction workers, they won't get anything. Construction workers have tried to get monies from the NIS and are being told that based on the method of the terms of the employment in the construction field, that they cannot qualify to get this money, and construction workers pay thousands of dollars. I know one person whose contribution is almost $12,000 that they have paid in contribution to NIS, and they won't get anything because they're a construction worker. All of those things, strike me as very unfair. And when the government was making the arrangements to help people in that way, they really should have done it properly. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, it's just more window dressing, more playing of politics. And what really gets me is that these poor people are not going to remember who stood with them and who did not when the critical time comes for the politicians, when they're asking again to be employed, for their employment to be renewed. The people that they have let down now are the people who are going to re-employ them. And, it's ridiculous, really.
Kalista, but the question I have, like, what do we do? What do we do to help the individuals who are slipping through the cracks? Because, I mean, you made it quite clear, because even from the get-go, we see how the system operates and how, you would say something upfront, call a big figure, say, okay, we are going to give you $70 million or $20 million and so on in distribution. And then find the little loopholes to narrow down that number. But now, even some of the people who are much in need of help and assistance, some of them don't even qualify any way, shape, or form for anything under the program. Like there are some people who, the daily hustlers and a day-to-day, who depend on the little hustle and bustle in St. George's, wherever they are, the little corn lady by the side of the road, due to the lack of movement and people being in town and so on, don't have an income right now. So now, where is a program for them? What safety net is there to help them? And this opens up a bigger can of worms, like what is really there for us when there is crisis? And like even now as COVID-19 give us the opportunity to see clearly that we need to really, because even the poor people you speak about, Kalista, who is like the large base that decides what happens during the elections in our country, have to really sit down now and really look and see, okay, where you put in that X and the support and the energy you're giving whoever, how is that coming back and assist you? And what are you doing now to stand up and demand that you are given your fair share and not giving excuses and so on? Leslie?
Yeah, so I want to say that discomfort brings about change. So I would hope that individuals can use these opportunities to become staunch advocates for their needs. So rather than us only brainstorming ways to help them, I think it's time that people look for ways to empower themselves to advocate for the things that they need. Write in, go into Grenlac, cause a ruckus, go in every day, galvanize other people who are experiencing the same thing, and make a fuss in order to bring about change, in order for someone to explain to you why, if it's estimated, I can't get credit when you find out that what I've been using for the past, however, several months is not $240. It's always been within $160 to $180. I mean, you have your previous statements. You have information that you can bring to them and show them. So I think this opportunity coming out of COVID should really empower people to want more and want better for themselves, because they see that no one else is really going to look out for you. The $330 that everyone's supposed to get, people are not getting it. The 30% that was supposed to be taken off, I didn't see that on my bill. I mean, these are things that were promised and you're not getting them. So what are you going to actually do about it?
I am back to court. I'm going back to court on Monday with Spice Mass. And it's funny, sometimes you feel like giving up, because I am the one, I'm fighting to say every Grenadian should have given the same opportunity. You know, when you see people in America and places are fighting for equal opportunity, that because of racism, I do the what we're going through here, I don't know if it's to call it oppression. So I am going to go back. I am said to stand up and fight for your right. But I'm going back to court on Monday. In most places, you would see a demonstration outside of court, people supporting me. Only I could check on one hand the people that will support me. As far if you look at some of the feedback, people would be cussing me because I'm trying to stand up for them. And one of the things, again, it seems sometimes I think maybe it would be better if the government filed for bankruptcy and start all over again, because making people promises, you know, I have had my workers are calling me every day saying we filled out the package for them, trying to help them, and they go to NIS and they have to be calling us because when they go to NIS is telling them something different. You know, after a while, you haven't got the energy, because remember, if you try and go and ask these workers any question, they're more upset than you. They're more, you know, there is no one there that will explain and say, well, listen, I know exactly how you're feeling. These people are more upset than you. And the lines are so long. By the time you get to the front desk, you're tired. You even forget what you go for. Sure, maybe when people going home, they might think, oh, damn, you know. Even again, the union, we are part of the company is unionized. Do you know, even though they are working less hours, these people still have to pay money to the union. The union has gone underground. I don't even know if there is a union here. So what they are doing, they're just keeping quiet and taking money from people, and people are still paying the union. The union has, of course.
I can just add something. So you said something that was really important, and there's power in numbers. So my point is that rather than an individual go and, you know, try to advocate or get assistance, if this is a shared experience within the community, then the community needs to galvanize and go and address their concerns with GrenLec. Not just one or two people, but a host of people, a group of people, and you know, slow work down. I mean, I'm coming from a different culture with a different ways of doing it, and you know, this is just my personal view. But when a group protests, you get more done than just one or two people, you know, saying, oh, my bill is high, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. But if a group of people now go and demand to speak to the supervisor, the manager, you know, this is unfair, I want this change, you're more apt to get a response and a positive.
But people, and this, I was looking at the news with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has said to his supporters, we want you to come out, but if you get coronavirus and you die or your family get ill, you cannot sue us. If you was to get Grenadians together and say, listen, we have to do something about it, the first thing people think you does not support the government. They do not realize that the government is there to serve you. So if there is something you are not happy about, you have to go to the government and say to the Prime Minister, listen, or the person in charge, I'm not happy about that. Let us do something about it. But instead, they will turn around and say, well, you're not, oh, this person is an NDC supporter, or this person is an NNP supporter. So they does not care whether you have a noose around their neck. Anything you say that is where you're standing up for your right, they think you are against the government. So that is the reason why people can't get away with this type of behavior, that they accept it because they will not say anything, because they think if they say something, you are against the ruling party. So what can you do? One person, you know, I say I'm going to do that fighting by myself. It is very difficult. It takes a lot out of me, but I'm doing it. as I said, for the younger Grenadians that is coming up. Because if I don't stand up and fight, soon Coca-Cola will be coming in. The big water companies will be coming in. And the poor Grenadians would be running around, like you see in the market now, with their tray and the police running after them, because they wouldn't be able to settle. Kentucky would be able to buy the whole of Carnival. And we, the people, wouldn't be able to do it. And that's the reason why I am standing. Is anybody else standing with me? Do you think there is not a lot of business people out there that knew what I'm doing that would say the same? Look at they decided they wasn't going to Carnival time. They was only going to stop by the roundabout, by the gas station there. And all the people on the Carenage that been doing Carnival for years and years, and they didn't say anything. Somebody decide we're not going to go around on the Carenage with the ban, and everybody just accept it. We have to stop accepting things. We have our livelihood. We have to pay for our bills. I cannot turn around and say, well, I'm not going to do that. And you should think, well, right, I have to suck it up. But people don't. It's a shame, but we don't.
Well, I mean, we put a lot of energy into sabotaging each other. The small guy fights the small guy. This is the norm in Grenada. They would enable the person in authority, the person with money, the person who is in a higher class than them. And I see somebody commented about classism on the chat, and that of course is, we may not necessarily have a problem with racism in Grenada, but we certainly have a situation of classism, and class is really the big distinction among us. And so I always try to wonder what made us this way, where our energy and our hate and our antagonism is directed at those who look like us, those who speak like us, those who face the same circumstances as us, rather than those who are responsible in many ways for the bad circumstances that a lot of people face. And if that problem is not fixed, I think we would continue to not go to Grenlec in a group, not go to the government in a group. People are complaining about Grenlec, but seem to have forgotten that the government promised 30% off, and even if Grenlec overcharged people, that 30% would have been reflected, and it would have made a difference in the bill. It means that the 30% was not applied, which is why the bills remain shockingly high to people. And so, like what Leslie said is just like so real. So this is what we need to do. When she said that discomfort brings change, but the more discomfort we feel, the more we hide ourselves in a hole when it comes to confronting those who create that discomfort for us. And what happens is that people who are unwilling to live under those circumstances find it very difficult, because another thing she said was that there is strength in numbers, and we know that. That said a lot. There's strength in numbers, but the numbers are large for those who are comfortable with discomfort, and very small for those who, like you, Miss McQueen, who would stand up and say, no, my water and my company has the right in Grenada to have a fair shake in the carnival events in terms of selling and being allowed visibility during the event. So where it will end, somebody called me a few days ago very upset, and they said to me, this is the time when we need another Eric Gehry. We need somebody to come from Aruba again, or we need another Maurice Bishop, or two great revolutionaries in Grenada, two of our biggest revolutions, our class revolution, and our, can you call it a political revolution, that created a vast amount of change in the way our people interacted and treated as citizens of the country. And people are just desperate for someone to lead the way, and a lot of the people who have the power to lead the we are also just so very selfish and thinking about their own needs and keeping that $100,000 car on the road, that they are not standing with the people. Some who would have stood with the people have gone into the parliament, and others into corporate, and everybody's just all man for himself in Grenada right now. And we are in a major crisis, and it has nothing to do with the economy or COVID. It has to do with the fact that we have a nation of sheep that is causing a real problem for us. The issue Kitaka that I wanted to talk about, because I'm really very happy to have seen this happen, where somebody spoke up and got results. That woman who complained that she was sexually assaulted by Peter St. Paul. You hearing me, Kitaka?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Right. So Peter St. Paul he's had but 3 counts of indecent assault and 1 count of a sexual assault brought against him. And as most people would know, Peter St. Paul is the Prime Minister's right-hand security man. And this woman wanted some land to put up a little house, and she was sent to St. Paul by the Prime Minister, and St. Paul is accused of sexually assaulting her. And she eventually complained, and he ran away to the United States. He said he was going for medical treatment. Just at that moment when the investigation should have started, he came back, and it took 3 months. They almost did not charge him, as far as I'm seeing here, and it's the same thing that they tried when when I made the criminal complaint against Winston Garraway, that they tried, the time wound down closer and closer to the 3 months, where the statute bar would kick in. And so the charges were brought just within that period as well. So Peter St. Paul now facing very serious criminal charges, sitting at the right hand of the Prime Minister, and having been accused of sexual assault. So what happens next in the court is a different story. But for the police to have gone ahead, for the office of the director of public prosecutions to have gone ahead and said, yes, there's sufficient evidence to charge him, to bring a case. He's on $20,000 bail. He was arrested and charged on Monday, and he's on $20,000 bail right now. And for them to have gone ahead and make that decision is a bold move, in my estimation, really bold, and marks a turning point in how things play out in Grenada, because Peter St. Paul is in the inner circle. He is powerful and within the inner circle, sitting at the right hand of the Prime Minister. And they've gone ahead and charged him, and that makes a big difference to me. It's even bigger than when Winston Garraway was charged for the crimes that I accused him of, that he committed against me. So now 2 people at the right hand of the Prime Minister facing criminal charges in the court. And that's a very worrying thing. It's like, 2 people in less than September to now, how much months is that? In less than just about half a year or more, charged, just a little more than half a year, 2 people sitting at the right hand of the Prime Minister now facing criminal charges in the court. And one has to wonder what kind of signal that sends. What does that say about the situation, the government, the Prime Minister, to have people around him who just seem to be doing so many wrong things? It raises questions about just what's going on there. But I am happy that the police went ahead and put this woman on a path to justice. I did not expect it to happen. I must say I'm pleasantly surprised that it happened. I didn't expect it to happen. And I think that because it was so publicized by the New Today newspaper, they may have felt they didn't have a choice. It might be a situation like that they didn't have a choice. Because I have no doubt that if it was just, if it was never reported in the news, this woman would not have gotten anywhere near seeking justice. So what do you think it's
You hear so many of people in position taking advantage of, poor people that looking for land or material. I heard somebody was, is it wood for wood or whatever it is? I can't remember the phrase I heard.
It's wood. It's wood for wood.
Wood for wood.
Yeah.
And although people made and I had a case of one of my workers that told me about it, where she had got some land, and and it's sad because when you see foreigners coming here and getting all this land for nothing, it is so sad to know that somebody would go and maybe ask for a piece of land, maybe the land is not even 5,000 square feet, and have to go through sexual abuse. This breaks my heart. When you see people coming and they're having 300 acres of land. Look, we've been told that Bacolet was given back to the slave owners' great-grandchildren. And a Grenadian who our parents has worked so hard to get a small house spot have to go through that. Obviously there has a case to be heard, and we will hear more about it. And if the gentleman is, because we don't want to see anybody that is innocent go into, at the end of the day, we will have all the evidence in front of us. But it makes me sad that the Chinese, the Russians, everybody could come and get free land. And when we was to go and ask for a small piece of land, as I said, I'm sure she got that land. If it was 5,000 square foot, it would have been a lot. And she has to go through that? Nah, that doesn't sit very well with me. That does not sit
Ms.
well.
Markin, also what I'm thinking as well, like sometimes I look at our culture and it worries me, because this is not a one-person thing. It seems like it's a culture we have here. And even though I'm worried, even though in the COVID times, when a lot of our women, our single-parent women, our younger women who are going to be vulnerable because of the economic situation, they might not be able to pay their rent, they might not be able to buy food and so on. And then you might have these individuals now who may have a little bit more and can afford it, would utilize that situation to exploit the situation and transfer sexual and want an exchange of sexual favors for helping out the young ladies. And so I feel it really puts a lot of young ladies in a tough situation. It puts our women in a tough situation where your livelihood and your survival is at a crossroads with you violating your dignity and having to endure these kind of things. And for too long, I think the voices of our women are not being heard. They're crying out because it's so rampant. I even hear sometimes instances of individuals who are there and supposed to be the ones to put a stop to it or to help to bring justice have allegations on their head. So we really need to look within our hearts as a Christian nation and for our men and our women and everyone to stop sexually abuse and assault and indecently expose ourselves and so on to other people. We have to do that. It runs very deep. It runs very deep. And even sometimes from a young level, guys might be slapping young ladies' bottom and, pulling their hands when they walk in through town and, hey, sexy, hey, and so much things. It's so cultural. And then, it just keeps building, and it leads to the situations. And I think, it's for me to see someone of a high position actually be out in the media and be charged and so on, as Kalishka said, it's a step in the right direction, because sometimes some people just feel like they're above the law based on where they act. The situation has not been finalized yet in the court whether or not the individual is guilty or not guilty, but it's good to see that the process of justice seems to be happening, where that individual in a high power and a seat of power is going through the course of the law for justice for an individual who is experiencing sexual, assault and so on. So for me, guys, well as all if you're looking, stop assaulting the ladies. Respect our women. Let's take care of them and not abuse them, especially in these COVID times. when there's so much people vulnerable right now. Please, please, I beg.
I think it's also um, I think it's also important for us to big up the woman for coming forth and for sharing her story, you know, with the climate that you just described, Kataka, or the culture that you just described. So that took a lot of bravery, a lot of effort on her part to speak up against this guy with power, right? And privilege. He is in the elite circle with the prime minister. So that goes to show that that fighting spirit is within the community, right? She is a representative of the larger community. So if she could do it, someone else can do it, and then someone else and someone else. Because what Kataka just mentioned, as far as this cultural shift, that will take generations, that will take parents teaching their sons to respect women, that women are not just objects, that, you know, they're people like you and they have desires and wants and likes. And just because you're in a position of power does not mean that you take advantage of her or anyone else. So I believe that those morals and characters and how you treat women, how you treat people, those are taught and modeled. Because yes, you can say something, but if your behavior is telling your children or your impressionable teen or whatever adolescent otherwise, then they're going to listen or pay more attention to how you act than what you say. So it's a trickle down effect, you know, at this point in time to say, hey, men, you got to respect our women and treat them with respect and, you know, dignity. Yeah, that's nice to say, but I really think that conditioning needs to happen. There needs to be consequences for when you do something. That's a sexual assault. Slapping someone on the ass, oh, sorry, on the butt, in public, that's a sexual assault. There should be charges pressed. Whether it's a summons, it's a slap on the wrist, it's a told, don't do that. It's a sexual assault. You're not supposed to touch anyone's person. That's not allowed. At least me.
But Earl is saying that he's charged. If you put up all charged and still holding public office, which is sad because for such an offense, you think he will be maybe sent home until or unless or if the Prime Minister office had done investigation themselves, then they could maybe put up I don't know, a public statement or whatever it is. But when I had the incident with Spice Mass, I think one of the director of Spice Mass came on television and said they were going to do a full investigation. No stone was going to be left unturned, and they were going to do this. And unless in Grenada, when people do investigation, they only do it they don't listen to the other side. They only do it, you know, it's a whole, I don't want to say it, but they're speaking, as we'll say in England, people speak a whole set of crap. They come on, they say things to keep the public quiet, and then everything gets buried. But with me, nothing is getting buried because I'm going to be going and find out when this woman that came up there and said I was in the wrong and where is the investigation? It's been 1 year now. Nothing. It seems like nobody seems to answer or give answers to the people of Grenada. People mess up. They make a big mess of everything. It doesn't matter from the small man down. But when a busman has a charge, if he don't pay that charge, or when a poor person have a charge, they don't pay the charge, they're putting them in prison. I bail $20,000 for bail. I know Grenadians that haven't got a house, that hasn't got a home, that hasn't got a job, that has no money, and when they get into problem, not big problem. My cousin met in an accident and he didn't have a license. His bail was $50,000 with 2 charities. It just shows how Grenadians treat women. You know, how could you charge? What message are we sending to our young men out there? We could sexually assault someone, and if you have weed, I'm the type of person, I don't want people to think I only know bad people. But I went and, I come from a normal family. I had to stand bail for one of my family with some weed, and it was $60,000 and 2 charities. How could you sexually assault someone and you are in such a high position and they charge you $20,000? What message? That is not, we're not giving out a message out there. And is this judging them? That's why every time I go to court, the last time I went to court, the police said they were going to arrest me, because every time I go to this high court and I see these young men and them out there, it's like a bloody college. They don't giving them a chance. And they're going in there and they're charging them money that they cannot afford. Somebody told me he spent 4 days in prison because of an accident and because the person knew the judge. And in the end, it ended up, just to clear his name, he had to pay $8,000 or more. I mean, what example are we showing? We're just giving them a slap on the hands.
Well, it's a pattern and a trend. You talked about the investigation that I believe it's Ms. Gibbs, who is the Gibbs woman, who is the chairman of SpiceMass, who was at the time a very staunch NNP, part of the political campaigns and part of the whole machinery. So definitely, expecting any kind of fair investigation or impartiality from her would be impossible, because she is aligned to the political power of the day, and would have no choice but to toe whatever line is there on the side of the political power. A lot of people who are chairmen and managers of this, that, and the other are aligned to the party. This is how it works in Grenada. You get those high positions because of political allegiance to the party of the day, and any party that's in power, as a matter of fact. But it seems to be more obvious with the NNP, given the length of time that they have spent as a government, as a ruling government, as well as the fact that they have no shame about doing those kinds of things. And even in my situation with Winston Garraway, when he shoved me down in front of cameras and in front of reporters who were afraid to tell the truth because of political power. The Minister of Information at the time, because Garraway was the Minister of State in the Ministry of Information, the Minister of Information at the time, Simon Steele, did the most disgraceful thing by saying that he had done an investigation and determined that nothing had happened. No one spoke to me about it. Simon Steele is in no position to have conducted an investigation like that. It's like investigating yourself and deciding that you did nothing wrong. And they did not care about how it would look. They did not care about the optics. He did a very long statement on the issue, claiming that nothing had happened. The police ended up filing criminal charges against Garraway. He's charged with assault. That matter had to be put off because of the coronavirus. But he's going to have to go to court, and I will seek to have my day in court on that issue. But that's, and it goes again to the lack of respect that these people have for women, because Steele did not even attempt to bring any appearance of fairness to the situation. At the time, it was simply to take me down, make me appear as if I was lying about it and nothing had happened, instead of making a statement on the importance of respect for women and the importance of respect for the media and stuff like that. That's not the position that was taken. So it's almost, it's like a disease with that particular group of people, that wherever to do those kinds of things, and particularly with women, to step on women as much as possible. It's a pattern, a recurring situation with them. they just are shameless when it comes to taking advantage of women. And it was not the first time that I had been attacked, physically attacked by people closely aligned to this government. I mean, the video of my iPad being punched out of my hands at Mount Rush went viral, and everybody saw what happened. And at the end of the day, the prosecutor, I believe at the time it was Swan, Kerry Swan is his name. I'm not sure what his political affiliation is, but one thing I'm sure of is that he, every chance he gets in court matters that has to do with me, takes the side, whether I'm the defendant or the complainant, takes the other side. And he shamelessly stood up and told the magistrate I was late for court, and told the magistrate that he had no idea whether or not I was interested in pursuing the matter, and that he had no problems with the matter being thrown out at the time. So but I cannot fight. I can fight, but I cannot fight on my own. And I believe they know they can get away with these things, because at the end of the day, people were still, even with all of the evidence, all of the video evidence and the still pictures of both incidents, there were a lot of people who continue to say that I was wrong, that I did something wrong. Very ordinary women who could be sexually assaulted because they need some land for their children. Those people who are supposed to look at me and see themselves looking back at me were some of the most vicious people during both incidents. So it's, even women in Grenada don't respect women and don't respect the right of women to be able to live comfortably and not be assaulted sexually or physically or otherwise. Women in Grenada actually believe that it's our place to be taken advantage of, to be beaten. I know some women say that my man not beating me, he doesn't love me, and that attitude is, it permeates everything in terms of how Grenadian women interact and react in situations.
What can I show that?
I remember.
No, I think Leslie, I don't know, Leslie, can I drop off a bit?
Okay.
What can I show?
We're out of time, Peter. Last comment from you.
Yeah, I think Leslie's there. Leslie, you there?
Yeah.
Yes, Leslie came back. Yeah.
Yeah, while you see that, Leslie, just Callister, I mean, it just continues to pain my heart, and is it the thing of the political divide within our country and the different things that separate us, that have us not seeing each other as brothers and sisters and so on. Like, like we could be so blinded to a point where we cannot see that we have a responsibility to care for each other and respect each other and give all the wonderful things that we think we deserve in the world. Because I mean, so now if we want love, we have to give love. If we want forgiveness, we have to give forgiveness. If we want compassion, we have to give it. If we want understanding, we have to give it out. And it's high time in our country, man. Even now, like I don't even see no way out of this current situation we're in, other than loving each other and supporting each other. And we cannot be doing this kind of thing in the country. And we need accountability, and we need to stand up and speak up on those things and hold people accountable. Because I know I was talking to a friend of mine, and she has a young daughter, and she's constantly in paranoia. Like if her daughter has to ride on the bus alone, or if she has to go to the shop or something, like and I didn't understand it, but even while having a conversation now, I was telling her, she needs to allow her daughter to be free and to fly and so on. And she's like terrified. She's terrified to the point where she's afraid to let her daughter be alone and to walk and to take the bus and to do little things that children are supposed to do. And for me, we need to create a world where our children and our girls and our boys can be safe, and they can really be themselves and not have to be running like prey every moment because there's some predator and some sexual predator trying to take advantage of them. So let's do something about it. Like we cannot move forward, with those things so prevalent in our society.
For sure. And our problem is not the government. Our problem is not Keith Mitchell or Garris Modeste or any one of those people. Our problem is us and our refusal to find our strength in our numbers and to fight for a better situation and a better life for our children, ourselves, and our children. The politicians, honestly, they don't care about you and they don't love you. They love your vote because your vote gives them employment and it gives them and their children a comfortable life while you struggle and live in discomfort. And, you know, call me political if you want. I just care about Archer and Zizi and what's going to happen to them. And so I will, you know, hold that position that we need to stand up for ourselves. So this is all the time that we have tonight for the program. We'll be back on Friday with more topics. Kitaka, Rolanda, Leslie. Leslie coming back on. Leslie's going on Friday. Kitaka keeps hiding you. You're coming on Friday. Yes, you're coming on Friday.
Well, I guess I need to take a vacation like how you did, and I feel like taking a vacation for the next 2 weeks. So Leslie will be holding the fort.
Right. So guys, as usual, thanks for being here. Our viewers, Kurt Licorice. I hope you missed me too, Kurt, on the program, and Earl and all the others, Tevin Campbell, a politician from Carrefour, who's also one of our faithful viewers, and Brian Grimes, who hates it when we say that we should restructure the public service and send some people home. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Have a pleasant night, everybody.
You got to have the courage. Do you have the courage to act outwardly on what you see inwardly? Or will you die a dreamer? Will you die on the verge and on the edge and in the land of coulda, woulda, and shoulda? Do you have the courage? I'm going to drop something on you. It takes courage to be successful. It is far easier not to be successful. Misery will always have company. Success breeds contempt. If you don't want to make waves, be mediocre. Be normal and fit in. And if you're more concerned about people than you are God, then neutralize everything He put in you. Just fit in with everybody else. Dress like them, walk like them, act like them, eat like them, go where they go, think like they think, do what they do. And once you've neutralized your uniqueness, you don't need courage. It takes courage to be different. It takes courage to go where you've never gone before. For some of you, it took courage to come to this conference. It takes courage to get you outside of the bar. It takes courage to be successful. It takes courage to win. People don't talk about people that don't win. If you win, they're going to talk about you. Do you have the courage to stand there though the storms keep raging and the people get to talking and you stand there and say, I've come too far to turn around? Do you have the courage? I'm going to say something to you. It takes courage to be exceptional. It takes courage to be wise. It takes courage to be rich. It takes courage to be educated. It takes courage to be knowledgeable. Because the moment you do, but you don't talk like, oh, you don't forgot where you came from. Look at you talking. It takes courage. And I'm just wondering, in this weak, watered down, mediocre society that we live in today, in this reality TV world we live in today, I'm wondering if there's anybody left that's got the courage to say, after all I've been through, and all my ancestors have been through, and all my parents have been through, I didn't come through all of that just to fit in with normalcy. I have the courage to go after my dream. Is there a woman left in this entire Coliseum